Today, what's up in Taupo? Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to the latest post covering finance and property news with a distinctively Australian and New Zealand flavour. And today I'm joined by Joe Wilkes, who's been out and about. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Martin. How are you?
Very good. How are you going? You've been to Taupo.
I've had a little break. I went off to spend a few days up in Taupo. Saw some stuff that I hadn't been to see. Some interesting tourist things to do, and also saw a remarkable amount of building again.
Oh, I'm so surprised.
Well, I've done a little bit of footage, and I actually got kicked off one site, Martin, for filming. So I don't know whether it was somebody spotted something I'd done elsewhere around the country, but I thought I'd take a look at Taupo just as I was holidaying there, and it's a holiday market. There's a lot of properties that are rented out for tourists. There's a lot of Airbnb going on. They've got a fairly tourist-centred property market. There is obviously agriculture in and around Taupo, but tourism is the main draw, and it's a beautiful place. I think I sent a clip of Lake Taupo in one of our previous posts. Now, again, going there, and I thought I'd look at it because having been to Tauranga a few weeks before, and just the extent of the building going on the periphery there, and how many sites were under construction, I thought, well, let's have a look at Taupo. So I've got a few days up here, and I won't be able to holiday the whole time. I'll have to do something. So, yeah, drove around, saw some interesting things. You come into Taupo from the southern side, and you go down the eastern side of the lake. As you come in, there are developments immediately you enter. I'll send you some clips, but the first one drove around at fairly early in the morning, 6:30, and sun's coming up. You've got a nice view of Lake Taupo, but again, sites they're not the massive sprawl that we saw in Tauranga. They're not the massive sprawl that we have in Auckland, but still quite significant given the size of Taupo's natural population. Population grows in the summer, and it's probably at its peak first week of January, the end of the first week of January when I was there. And then it subsides a bit and then goes up again in the holiday season. So, yeah, a lot of development. There was a large site going north of Taupo, heading towards Rotorua, which has been going for a couple of years. There's, I'd probably say, between 400 and 500 houses under construction in the second site. The really interesting one for me, however, was when I went around the other side of the lake and past Acacia Bay, and I encountered a site which, for me, just demonstrates the whole plot selling, flipping phenomena that we encountered in Europe, in Spain. It was quite prevalent. A lot of the Mediterranean countries, Portugal, saw it. You had it quite a bit in places like Croatia, where land was sectioned off. Beautiful glossy brochures put together about this is how it's all going to look when it's finished, and then these sections were sold off to individuals who could then employ the original builder to go and build them, or they could build them themselves. Now, one site I encountered which was quite phenomenal. Drove in, gated entrance, houses built in a big plots sectioned off in a big circular loop, but none of them cleared, so there's still dense bush, which is quite a large cost to remove. Roads put in, fairly limited parking, but the section sizes were quite a nice size, and I spoke to one of the people who's bought and developed in there. There were over 100 properties, or over 100 sites here. Only 4 have actually been developed over the 3 years that the site's been operating. When the land was originally sold, all of the units were sold, so all 100 sites transacted within months. Developers put in central facility, swimming pool, tennis court, gymnasium. All the owners of the land are paying a body corp fee to use this facility, and only four out of 100 have actually gone and built anything. Of the remaining 96, I counted 36 sections back on the market. So people they're not doing anything. It's just a ghost tree site. When you look at the spin behind it, though, one of the owners was kind enough to speak to me. She said she loved it. She said, well, we're up here, we've bought this, and we've got the use of the facilities, which everyone else is paying for. We don't have to put up with any neighbours. But you actually, sort of in depth, she bought this with a 70-year lease on the land. So the land, I think, is owned by Maori Trust. You've got 70 years. You build what you want. You've got it for 70 years before you have to go and renew your lease. At what cost? Don't know. You don't know with these things where the lease fee will be when you need to renew it. What you find with leasehold properties is typically as the length of the lease diminishes, their value relative to longer lease properties also diminishes, because people have got less security over how long the leasehold tenure will be. So. Big sites. Drove a little bit further around. Went to a place called Kinloch, which is beautiful, a lovely place to go and live. But again, big site outside of Kinloch, where they're building another 30, 40 properties in various states of undress. It seems to me that you've got in Taupo this speculative boom that has gone into Airbnb this and Airbnb that, and obviously there was a lot of demand for the tourist area. My question is, has that demand, like we're seeing in Auckland with the building consents now petering off, has that been an overkill for the current credit environment where we're not seeing any credit growth in New Zealand last year?
Interesting. So once again, the same themes coming through, Joe, with a lot of construction, perhaps a lot of speculation, but also perhaps a lot of risk.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, particularly with some of these, is the nice holiday sites. These have been a focus, like you say. I haven't been to the South Island yet, but I know that Queenstown has had a heavy influence of foreign marginal cash and debt propping up their market for the last few years. Taupo, I think, is no different. I think that there will have been a lot of speculative. It's a nice place. It's on the tourist trail. Let's get in and buy property here, because you and I know, Martin, property always goes up.
Never falls.
Never falls. Never. I've never seen it fall so much, 30, 40, 50% sometimes. But yeah, so I think that what we're seeing is a continuation of that. Tauranga was no different. I want to get down to the South Island soon, so I'll try and do that in the next month or so, and have a little wander around and see what's going on down there. South Island, we've got a lot of Kiwi build sites as well that are being proposed in places like Wanaka, where the government are now, because there's a housing shortage, are building and have committed to building 100,000 houses over the next 10 years. So let's get out. We'll have a little look at some other areas as well. But Taupo, lot for sale. There's a lot of second-hand stock that's for sale as well. As you drive out the periphery, particularly on the west side, large units where you've got big houses, big sections, which look like really lovely holiday places for a week or two stay. But they're being brought back into the marketplace. We've got some changes to tax rules around Airbnb using your property as a business. Negative gearing's coming in, perhaps. Well, I think very likely. How much of an impact is this going to have moving forward?
Interesting question, Joe. We'll leave that hanging. Good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Martin. Take care.
See you next time. Bye.